Good news, we are now in Taipei, Taiwan. Bad news, that means we are toward the end of my sabbatical in Southeast Asia. For the time I was here for about 6 days, and I did all the normal things you do in the city, going to Taipei 101, going around sightseeing, but sadly, I don't have a lot of footage. But here's a short video of me enjoying a local activity, indoor shrimping. Before we take a trip outside the city though, there is something I do want to show you, and that's in the Keelung Street Night Market. By the way, Taipei, or really this entire area, and for my trip has one of the best night market scenes I've experienced, and that includes Kuala Lumpur and Bangkok. Jiufen 1 Ice and Fire Rice Balls sells a number of desserts, but this has to be the most famous one, the iced and hot tangyang. This is a dish of glutinous rice balls over a bed of shaved ice served with osmanthus syrup. You can get the rice balls filled with either sesame or peanut. So after a few days of exploring the city, I decided to take a day trip, so I took a bus up to Jiufen. Jiufen at one point was a gold mining town during the Japanese colonial period, but is now a destination known for its nostalgic atmosphere and traditional tea houses. So here we are taking a walk down Jiufen Old Street, which is a narrow street filled with food stalls and souvenir shops. I took this video a little bit earlier in the morning because I had somewhere else to go a little bit later, but take my word for it, it gets a lot busier in the afternoon around 11:30, 12 o'clock. You'll see your standard fare of foods such as taro balls, peanut ice cream rolls, and one of their signatures here, a beef noodle soup, which I just had to have for lunch because, well, of course I did. One of the other big draws to Jiufen is that it is said to have inspired the fantasy film Spirited Away. That connection is all over how Jiufen is marketed. However, it is fair to point out that Hayao Miyazaki, the film's animator, has denied the link between Jiufen and Spirited Away. Just don't tell that to anybody here. From Jiufen Old Street, you just hop on a bus, and another 40 to 50 some odd minutes, you end up in Keelung, which is a port city northeast of Taipei. After a little bit of exploration, we end up in the Keelung Night Market. And once again, I'm going to apologize. I did not get nearly enough video of the actual food here, but again, you're just going to take my word for it that it was really good. And again, for reasons, I can't put my finger on it, but the street night market scene here is phenomenal. And finally, we are in the district of Tamsui. Depending on where you are in Taipei, Tamsui is about an hour, perhaps an hour 30 by train from the city. Tamsui started off as a trading port during the Qing dynasty, Now it is simply a laid-back waterfront district with historical and cultural sites. One of which is Fort San Domingo, which is a really well-preserved Spanish colonial fort, which was later controlled by the Dutch and British. It really shows Taiwan's link to the colonial past. And finally, we end up in Fisherman's Wharf, where you get a nice scenic spot from a place called Lover's Bridge. I hear at night it lights up really naturally, but we're not here at night. But despite that, it was still a good view. And that wraps up my time in Taipei. It was a pretty awesome week. I really enjoyed the vibe of the city. The smell of the stinky tofu, not as much, but it comes with it. So I will see you next time.